When it came to the Africanist aesthetic in Program A and Program B, I thought Program B showed it, excuse me, a little bit more than Program A. Though I can talk about Program A for a little bit. One thing that I saw that was in Program A that was had the Africanist aesthetic was Echoes of the Future by Stephanie. I thought that there was a lot of energy, intentional energy that was putting out in the movement. There was a lot of polyrhythmic uh, movement in a part of the songs, and a lot of it was call and response, which I think added to the polyrhythmic sounds in the movement. So when it was call and response, it added more depth into it and intentionality. Um, Another dance that I could speak on is A New Place to Drown by Jamal White in Program B. Um, I thought that there was just a lot of interconnectedness and like between both. Uh, I think there was not a lot of call and response, but there was a lot of polyrhythmic rhythms and the aesthetic of the cool, which I think added with like the lights and everything, and that was very cool to see. Um, I thought the movement didn't have as much to do with the Africanist aesthetic as much, but I do think that the music added to the Africanist aesthetic, just like that polyrhythmic sound and the emotion connected to it, which really added more depth into his piece. Um, I thought that that piece and the Lamone piece added together with the Africanist aesthetic because of the lines and the polyrhythmic movement. Um, it was the one dance that was very memorable to me. Um, well, just to mention that Jamal White's and the Lamone piece also had that intentionality in both that really spoke to the piece. Every single arm that you could see was intentional and added to the emotional depth of the entire dance with both. It was a lot of lines, but that was not really in contrast with my favorite dance, which was the Genius. Um, sorry. In the Genius, there was a lot of interconnectedness and like interpersonal communication through movement. I thought Monique's choice of using like jazz music was really nice because it was like it kind of felt more authentic in a way to the Africanist aesthetic and to jazz culture rather than it being like an appropriation of the culture. Um, I thought that there was a lot of contrast in between the syncopation and the smoothness, which it connected with each other personally. I thought that them two being together with that contrast really added with the authentic jazz music. One thing that I could say was there was a solo in between uh, for Devon that kind of had that aesthetic of the cool. There's a lot of syncopation with like the shoulders and like accents and polyrhythmic movement that really like added also to the intentionality of the piece. Um, Devon's solo I thought had like the aesthetic of ephebism, which really made it more youthful to watch and exciting. Um, just to connect all of that to all for all of my readings throughout the entire semester, I definitely think that there was a difference in between watching the show, sorry, appreciation and appropriation. I thought that the music added a lot with the appreciation of the African aesthetic, with polyrhythmic sounds all throughout every piece of the dance, and also just like the interconnectedness. There was so much communication between every single dancer, and it didn't have to be just physical connectedness, but also just like mental and the interpersonal communication without physical touching, which I thought was really impressive. So, yes, that's what I learned this semester.